Hello.
Hello, hi Pedro.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
I'm going to start already with the questions. Where are you based? Nigeria?
I'm in Nairobi,
Nairobi.
Kenya. That's on the
Nairobi.
eastern part of Africa.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I keep confusing things. Do you know if Darlington is going to come by?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I was
Oh,
sending him a
you know
reminder.
Darlington?
Could you say
You know
again?
Darlington?
Yes. Yeah. Very well. Well, at least we very often talk at Cardano over coffee. You know, the X space.
Ah, yes,
And we were also in the constitutional work in late 2024. So we got to be face to face in Nairobi when I was there for the constitutional workshops. I'm not sure if that what they were calling.
Constitutional committee, something of that sort.
Yeah, but and have you been with Lido Nation for long or?
Yes. Right now it's like a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a year and a half.
Okay, I'm already making notes. We're expecting at least a few more people to join. I'm not sure if they will show up, so that's why I'm still just allowing a few minutes for anyone else to join. But it's going to be very interesting to go over what you've been doing at Lido Nation. And are you engaging with any other communities or something like that in Cardano? How did you come to Cardano?
Right now, let me just start briefly in blockchain. I've been in the blockchain scene actively for like about 4 years, but actively building right now it's 1.5 years since I joined Lido. Yeah, so strictly in the Cardano space, trying to establish a strong community locally over here.
So
Community
you
that's
also do the
vibrant.
IRL part of Lido Nation, or?
Are
you mostly just the designer or the UX person?
The UI UX, but also the general branding aspect of Lido. Because right now, Lido, we opened up a blockchain center. It's like a hub for everything.
That's why I meant like the physical part of it, right?
Yes. So I'm also in charge of like the whole brand aspects for Lido and all its subsidiary brands. Yeah, I oversee the design aspects of that. So it's not only UI UX, it also incorporates branding and the general design outlook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you involved in the event that you guys just had there?
Yes. I was in charge of the art direction. I was collaborating with an individual from Ghana, where I was now like overseeing the whole design phase of the summit.
Yeah, I organized a very, very small meetup here to see the streaming, and I gave some feedback to, I think it was Dan or something on let me check, on X, on Discord. I gave some feedback to one of your colleagues about how the streaming went and how we could see or not what was on the overlay on the streaming. So most of the times we couldn't really understand what panel was being discussed, or key phrases that were being shared by, or points of view. Is this
you talked to Don Bosco?
Yeah, probably. Exactly, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Oh, actually, he relayed the information. Right now, we've already like done a compilation of all the panel session, the keynote speeches, and we segmented them accordingly. So we're looking to upload them on YouTube so that you can get like the whole overview. Yeah,
sorry, I was just picking up something. I came to my Discord and I'm immediately distracted. I'm sorry. Could you say again?
Oh, I was saying, don't relay the information. And
Mm-hmm.
the step we took, we like taken the whole video and created like the different clips of the different keynote speakers,
You're going
the
to be
panel
releasing it like
discussion.
that then?
Yes, yes,
Super.
yes.
Yeah, I
It's
think
going to
it
be like
really
a whole
helps
playlist.
amplify things.
Yes, yes. It's going to be like a whole playlist with the different sessions which were happening on that day.
Okay. I'm happy
Yeah.
because I just got a link here as well of something that I wanted to share in today's call. And
Hmm.
yeah, so that's why I was interrupted. I got distracted to share to pick this up. Um,
Okay.
okay, so maybe we can jump in, right? Hello,
Hey,
welcome,
hey,
Harsha.
hey.
Hey, I was just literally saying maybe we can start. So you're
Oh,
just in the
perfect.
nick of time. Do you want to introduce yourself or say hi or something like that? This is Preston from
Hey,
Lido
Preston.
Nation. He was
Oh,
doing the
nice.
IRL art direction for the event that just happened in Nairobi, and he's also
Oh,
doing UI UX. So that's
oh,
the
nice.
welcome I can give you. It's a recap of what we've been speaking for the last 8 minutes or something.
All right,
Um,
Yeah.
perfect, perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I don't really mind. A lot of people are not here. Don't be distracted by that, or don't be disappointed by that. We've been doing a number of calls. This is the seventh call we've done. I can introduce you the project in a nutshell. Harsh has heard it, I think, a couple of times at least. So that's why, because we're still in the process, in the first milestone of this project, where we're getting people on board, like is your case today, Preston. I'm happy to just have individual calls, and so this is not a big call to introduce to the community or something like that. It's mostly a brainstorm of some topics, introduce some more designers. I was also DMing with Time. Not sure how you pronounce it, but she's a well-known designer in our space, and so I'm trying to create this space where people come in and share a bit what they're doing. In that
Nice.
spirit,
Nice.
I'm going to share my screen, and I wanted to share with you as well. So maybe let's start just by backpedaling a bit here. So 45B is onboarding mostly end users and small and medium businesses. That's the outer facing side of 45B to the real world. But on the inside, we also have like organized events. You can see here, Preston, and can have a look at the videos of what we've done before. And I was just doing this here. If you look for design, there's a number of people here that have worked with us and they are in touch with us. But for example, Paulo literally tells me, just when we get to the interventions, give me an intervention to do, because he can't be on all these calls. So we have access to some people. It's not, most of them are not 100% Web3 aware, but yeah, we're trying to use a bit of our people, a bit of community people, and mostly to create the space for everyone. And I'm just going to close this. And if we show it on this card here, I'm not sure if Preston saw this on the thumbnail or something like that, but yeah, the
Yeah. Yeah.
project,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Downdated.
basically these three main components, right? Spaces, resources portal, and the interventions. I was just adding this here, for example, which we've been trying to discover what we could do. And I think the motivation for people to sign up for the interventions is that at minimum, you get a quick in-call review by designers. When we have more of this designer muscle coming to our calls, we can give you some minutes of feedback, like 5-10 minutes of feedback to a project that has signed up for an intervention, if we can provide the intervention for their specific project. So yeah, that's basically in a nutshell what it is. There's call recordings, there's a Luma calendar. It's all being shared, like building in public spirit, like Gimbal Labs taught us. Harsh is from Gimbal Labs as well. And so yeah, today what I wanted to do is basically, I'm going to close the cover. So similar to previous calls, I have some miscellaneous notes of things to discuss with you guys. But the first one, I hope it's going to work. Here we go. I'm going to have to reshare this screenshot, this screen. So bear with me a second so that you guys can have sound. And while I do that, I can clarify that this was a presentation by a designer agency, I would say senior designer agency for lack of better expression, that's being hired by CF to do a brand extension on Cardano itself. So I think we should start seeing it up. And I'm going to try to go forward to the part where they actually did the presentation. So bear with me.
Ciao, buongiorno.
I'm probably going to be humping around.
Rigor, but what is...
Sorry, I'm probably going to be jumping around a bit, and maybe I'll share the link with you guys, and I'll hop over a bit of this as well. So I'll start hopping around a bit already. So yeah, here you have a bit about what a brand extension is, extending the Cardano grammar, not a rebrand. Can you see everything okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then skipping forward a bit. So here, it's interesting how they had to go and research, the pillars and the ethos of Cardano. And then the interesting part that I wanted to start showing you, here we had a bit about art direction. I think I can still make it a bit bigger. No, this is the best one. So nuance through colors, every detail matters, typography, texture, colors, etc., and human at our core. And we're going to see that this is something that was discussed further ahead in the call, how they decided to use humans because of this kind of art direction decision, right? So I'm gonna, now that we're starting to get into the visual part of it, I'm just gonna press play and let it run for a bit. But if you want to jump in, let me know and I'll pause so we can discuss any point.
This was because there was a lot of it's a bit differently. The blue is a bit more what we laid out as like our brief in terms of creative. So you'll see the colors here and how we worked it a bit differently. The blue is a bit more light so that it can contrast and worked with other shades. This was because there was a lot of readability and usability problems with the precedent brand colors. It's not a big step. If we were redoing the same designs, you probably won't even notice that we changed the blue. And then we added this yellow as like a little contrasting colors to the color palette. Here is the brand board that shows our creative updates. And so here you'll see we're trying to introduce dimensionality into the graphics of Cardano. This is, we want to shift from like something very flat and cold, very minimal, to something a bit more tactile and expressive. And so it's also a way to bring a little bit more humanity, real life vibe to the creative identity. We play with the starburst as it's such a key DNA element of the Cardano brand. So you will see the particle of the starburst moving in front of each other and creating visuals that even if they are static, feel like they're always in motion. And we worked on a design system that can encompass photography of real people to show the diversity of the community, to show the people behind the tech. And it also makes the brand a bit more aspirational for people who are outside of the Cardano community. You will see here how like we heavily based the creative on motion. Here you see how the starburst is really the nest of the whole creative direction, and how from that type of animation we can create an infinite variation of layouts and visual for the brand. On the right, you have an example that is a bit more minimal, that can fit a usage that are maybe more falling on the tech, everything product, where we use a more 2D version of a variation of the starburst. Here is samples to show how we can create a lot of different combination using the key elements of the brand extension. Some are more fit for, like I was saying, products, tech communication. Some are more focused on the community. This is where we want to add, real life photography to give more of a vibe of what happens when the real people meet in real life, and then some that are more focused on the Cardano governance and core communication. So those are samples. It's just to show the potential of the extension. I can go a little bit more into the ingredients that we worked on, but happy to know if there are some thoughts, questions, or yeah.
Any feedback, guys? I've seen this a couple of times already. So for me, it's not new. Anyone has any feedback here? Anyone scared? Or are we all happy with this?
I have a question, actually. It's interesting. Do you know if other blockchain use the people in their communication? I think I like quite a lot the use actually of people, of the teams, but I don't know if you did a comparison with other blockchain.
Yeah, we've used humans in a couple of extensions that we've done, but it's only when it really fits the brand of the blockchain. For example, if we were working on something that didn't have the same community elements that Cardano has, it wouldn't really be a fit. The other one where we've used humans that comes to mind is some work we did on Stellar, because that is also, when you think about the Stellar brand and sort of historic commitment to social responsibility, some of the stuff that they've done from a remittance standpoint and all of that, much different execution on it. But
guys, I'm gonna, I don't want to replay the whole call here, but I felt like this part could be interesting because there's a lot that we can learn from other chains as well, right? And I've been meaning to explore, but I haven't really used much. I know about, I'm very curious about Tezos because I think it's very strong in terms of art. Yeah, I haven't really experienced much how other chains present themselves. I think there's a bit here where they change and still, show a bit more.
Hey Lucas, I have a small question. What exactly is this branding for? What are is this for Cardano in general?
As far as I understood, this I think will impact mostly Cardano.org, which is the public brand, generic Cardano brand that CF is managing.
Oh, I see.
Okay. But the link for the call is going to be in the Miro board. And by the way, I can just invite Preston as well to go to, it's just 45b.io, right? So if you go to 45b.io and scroll down, you will be able to come to the Miro board that we have on know more about 45b. So through there, I'm going to put the link to the whole recording if you want to see it a bit more, more time. But it's because the context is there. It's mentioned a bit before. So I just wanted to highlight here as well. They're using these little small items to illustrate how small busy bees, let's say, contribute to the bigger picture, which happens a lot, in decentralized environment like Cardano. And let me just listen to 16 here for a second.
This one was also a good example. I share where we can use photography without the photography being the star of the piece. Here, it's maybe was taking a little time to speak about this illustration style as part of the grammar of the brand identity, where we reuse this idea of the small things coming together to create something bigger, to give meaning. And so here we play with that core element of what Cardano is, right? A group of people, of individuals coming together to create Cardano, of communities. It can be taken at different scale, and we make that part of how the brand identity is being created. So this is part of the different illustration style or graphic visual language that we can use to create the different element of comms.
Okay, I think this is a nice point to cut it at. And I'm going to go back to sharing the Miro board, discussing with you guys. But I just want to say that we are in touch now with Scred 3 as well. And we wanted to at least, invite them to come over when we have one of the bigger calls, like a live stream around this project, when everyone is invited to really come over and discuss. It would be great to have them here to also maybe rehash this kind of discussion and speak in a bit more broader scope about how one of the things that we touched on, because I was in this call, and maybe you'll be able to see that if you play the recording, is how this kind of, like Harsha was asking, what does this impact? How could this work be extended and have like extra packages of things or extra guidance, style guidance that can be influencing all the Cardano projects? Obviously it's not going to be a styles guide for everything, but some kind of guidelines or art direction type of input. Guys, any feedback? Any thoughts?
I think. Oh yeah, go ahead, Preston.
I think from the presentation, it will tell the team it's 610 players. They were very intentional with the brand because they've gone through like the whole process, like seeing how this brand can be used. So they are not just presenting like most people just present the logo and all that. They were very intentional, like, okay, this is the brand, this is how it can be applied, and this is what it communicates. So that's one thing that we have seen a brief, but it has really stand out for me.
Yeah. Harsha?
Yeah, I was trying to say very similar things that Preston was mentioning actually, but also I think what would really help me personally is not just that specific brand, but in general the principles that go behind, like the things that they came up with.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point that we want to explore as well in this project. That's why we want to do like a catalog of Cardano projects, reverse engineer or document a bit how that design was built, and take it all the way back to what you were talking about, like the principles and motivations, the message that's trying to be communicated by the use of such design. So yeah, their website is a bit heavy on my side, at least, but yeah, you can see it's quite nice.
Yeah, it's very stylized.
Okay, I'm gonna close this for now. Like I said, there's the link here, and the point that you were just mentioning, I'm gonna formalize it here. Okay, this is not perfect, but I'll go back to it eventually. And it's a bit like in line with this as well that I was mentioning. We want to do everyone that applies to our interventions part. We want to do this part. So next, I think maybe we could dive into Preston's work or challenges currently. I think it was Emmanuel Titi that brought you to us, right? That introduced us, and he mentioned that you were doing the Cardano Explorer. Is that it? You're on mute currently.
It was the Catalyst Explorer.
Catalyst Explorer. Sorry. Yeah, I knew that I was getting it
Catalyst Explorer.
There we go. So Preston was saying before you got in, Harsha, that he's been in Lido Nation for a year and a half. He's been in blockchain for 4 years. And yeah, like we discussed, he's doing a number of things there. I'll be frank, Preston, a lot of the times I look at Lido Nation's things, I feel like it's functionally great, but it's visually and in terms of UI UX a bit overwhelming or a bit, could use some work. I'm not sure how you feel. You've just worked on this one, or have you reviewed and intervened in other of Lido Nation's projects?
Okay, this was my first project. I don't know if you saw like the initial one. There was an initial one, it was under now the Lido Nation website. And this one was actually picked out from the Lido Nation website for it to be somehow independent and not so heavy from the Lido side.
Okay, and is the other one still active? Should I pull it up?
No, everything was not redirected to this side, but it was under LidoNation.com. You go to LidoNation.com, so it was actually been following the theme of LidoNation.com. Because even if you look at Lido, there's a lot of improvement which you're working on.
Let me just have a look. LidoNation.com. I don't know. I think I haven't been there for a while, but yeah, it's still the same kind of design, right? It was just the content that got brought over.
Yeah. Now we needed like the whole Colors Explorer is following this format, and when I remember when I came in, it was somehow quite difficult navigating through the Lido, getting to see like the different proposals under the Colors Explorer. Now, imagine now trying to shift the whole of like the whole concept, a whole database of information pertaining the who's been funded, which proposal is currently active, which fund is active, which fund hasn't been funded, and all that. So trying to package all that into a single entity. So we needed to like do a complete revamp. Hence, we took the whole data as it is, and now trying to do like some few design tweaks here and there, and steering away from this direction from the look and feel that is currently at the Lido Nation side. That's why even if you go now to Catalyst Explorer, you find that okay, it's a bit if you compare it with the
it's a bit like the dark mode of it.
Yeah, but now this one, if you look at it, it's a bit more structured. Even if you look at the light mode option and all that, it has some bit of structure and easier to navigate as compared to how it was before. And just as what you said, there's like lots of improvements which you're doing on the design side, trying to improve the different user flows. How can a person reviewing the different proposals, how can I easily navigate to what they want to find? Yeah, so
I had used, you can see here, if I have an account, I had used this for a little while. I tried doing some things. I think it was mostly about the lists, right? Lists of proposals that I like in Catalyst. That's one of the main features, right?
Oh, yes. You can bookmark different lists.
Okay.
Yeah.
But overall, like, yeah, I need to add wallets and stuff. Have you ever considered doing a mobile version of this, or do you know if it will?
That's one thing we like right now in the discussion phase. We trying to come up with like a design framework and a whole timeline in which we can now do a whole mobile version of this site.
Okay.
Yeah, for easy access, because right now most people are on their phones.
Yeah.
More than 80%.
I think, and some people don't even have a laptop. They just, you're not IT people. They don't care.
Yeah.
So they don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So the mobile version of this one is something that's in the pipeline, trying to like set like the different timelines and so that we can just jump on it and have something that's feasible and ready to be used by the public.
And by the way, can you speak a bit about how we log in and log out? Is it wallet only? Is it email password or?
It's both email and wallet. Yeah, you're not tied
but you need both to be using all the functionalities, I imagine, right? Can you use it if you only have the wallet and not the email?
Yes, it's possible. You can use them how
all the functionalities
across board. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure. We can't really go into very, very detail here. And I'm not a design consultant. I'm a multi-skilled person just facilitating things here. But I feel like, yeah, it looks a bit better in bright mode than in dark mode. But I don't know.
Well, yeah, what is that jar? What are you looking at?
Yes.
What is this jar?
You want to explain, Preston? Jager Munda. Do you know what this one is?
Yeah, so those are just like statistical numbers on how like how Catalyst currently is in terms of like the different votes, the voters, the transactions who are currently like in these people usually come over here during like different funding rounds. So you can get to see the specific fund and how people are engaging with who voted on what fund and all that.
Oh, like that.
And
And how did you? What does Jagermunder mean?
It is the database by Catalyst that they are querying.
Oh, so Catalyst named it Jagermunder.
Yeah, they don't use the Cardano blockchain. They use their Jagermunder thing. Yes, that they named.
I mean, if you're going to name some random names, people would have no idea.
It's really just to make it hard to say.
So I think these are some of the notes which we are picking on.
Yeah, maybe just call it Catalyst database here.
Yeah.
and then put the technical name. But yeah, okay. Preston, I'm not sure if you want to share anything else. Maybe you don't have a portfolio or anything like that. Do you want to share any other app that you worked on, whether it's on Cardano or even on other blockchains?
Okay, there's one. I think it's in the finalization stage. We worked on Ambassadors Explorer. You see, Ambassadors Explorer. Yes,
okay.
You see, Cardano is very active on ambassadors, having ambassadors globally. Darlington being an ambassador in this region. So how can we have a platform for this?
Do you have a link for that, or is it just an idea?
It's something that's it's in the finalization stage of like the design phase is already complete. I think I'll get the specific link from TT, the project lead, and then I'll just share so that you can have like a whole outlook on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Preston, I have a question for you. How do you design your user experiences? Like how do you start like your user? So who is going to use like Catalyst Explorer in general when you're designing it? Who were you designing it for?
So Catalyst is specifically for Catalyst voters.
Okay.
You see, how can Catalyst voters get to know what proposal is viable for funding, what proposal has like more ways on and all that. So for Catalyst voters, how can they get the whole overview of what a proposal entails, the specifics of like the different proposals and all that? because you find right now under Project Catalyst, it's somehow difficult to navigate through, like get the whole overview of what the project entails, the different timelines and the different milestones which have been achieved. So
Yep.
the Catalyst Explorer, it somehow summarizes whatever is on the Project Catalyst for easy navigation and access.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, just based on using it, I just trying it. I would prefer this than the Catalyst website, catalyst.io or something. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah, the Project Catalyst that I. Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone like 37 minutes of our time. So I'm opening up something that I wanted to ping to you just to show you, because when I prepared the notes for today's call, I realized that you have the Cardano or Catalyst Explorer, and I'm just going to fix my note here. And I wanted to bridge you a bit with our governance and funding calls, because in those calls, and actually we're going to have one 30 minutes after this one ends, but today's is going to be specific about treasury evaluation, treasury impact assessment. But generically on these calls, we have something, a big side of it, which is about reviewing governance tools. And it's not 100%. So that's why we call it governance and funding calls, because there's always very similar aspects to evaluating governance action or treasury funding and evaluating funding at Catalyst or something like that. So it's quite, messy for now, but you can see here, like this is the main part of it, the governance and funding calls. This is what we do day to day on the calls. But then there's a side here just about governance tooling, which includes funding. So here we have funding focused, we have Catalyst, and now I'm going to add here your tool, because it is sort of a competitor to, sorry, where was it? I need to come to this other screen. Yeah, so I just wanted to raise awareness about these calls and invite you to come by or to have a look if you ever want to have a look at other governance tools. We're making a list of all of them, and eventually I wanted to make even sort of a landing page that's mobile friendly and things like those. So yeah. Okay, so this is one. There's Fast Track here, for example, which is a concept by Sir Corin that participates in these other calls. It's about crowdsourcing for parameter changes, but he wants to make it for all kinds of tools as well. And you can see here, there's like, you can system direct focused, you have direct watch. Maybe it could help you could help influence your work on the Ambassador Explorer that you were just mentioning. Yeah, it goes on and on. You can see each of these blocks is one tool. Some of them are already even offline, but yeah. Okay, so you can find this mainly through our links. So you can go to links.45b.io, and you see there our calendars. Okay, main event calendars and recurring event calendars. All good? Great. Okay, so that was that point. We also had someone, Ahmed was in our previous, not call, but space by this project. He didn't really show up today, and that's fine. We are going to keep in touch with him asynchronously. And then I wanted to bounce this off of you. You know this person probably, right? Adam Dean.
Yeah.
He's like very, like he has his hand in so many things. And so I wanted to just to bring to our view this tweet that he did recently, where, if you read it overall, this caught my attention, right? So instead of all this organization, let's say, with who should we fund, and also apparently there was marketing. Well, yeah, I think I'm not sure if he's saying that there exists or that could exist. The main point I was highlighting here is this kind of a suggestion. So yeah, have a look at it, give some feedback if you want. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Do you want a minute to just give feedback on this, or I'm sort of?
I think I'll just review it and then I'll act on it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's there. I'm actually going to drop it in our Discord as well. If you give me a second, or I'll make a note here to drop this on Discord. So for anyone asynchronously articulating with us. Okay. And that's it. Now, in terms of areas of debate, we've been going around a number of things, and overall, I think this summarizes it. Design basics, tooling, AI tooling as well, or overall impact in our processes. I also had this point here about what are Web3's unique selling propositions and challenges. I'm not sure if you guys want to jump into this a bit. Do you see, like, what do you think if we start thinking, okay, there's this Web 2 app that's very sought out and it's a big success in the market. How can we make the Web 3 version of it, or what are the things that can only be done in Web 3 because of what we have? What are those unique selling propositions? Can you come up with anything at all?
I mean, I personally like I feel like I'm not saying anything. I'm just making noises, but
that's fine. You are, but that's perfectly fine. It's supposed to be a brainstorm session, right? So, go on.
Yeah. So for me, the key thing is that it's a transparent ledger and it is immutable, and that's all that matters, right? Like if you put like a piece of information on the blockchain, it'll technically stay there forever. Mm-hmm. And if there is a chain of events, we can forever track the chain. That's literally the only thing I can think about when it comes to a blockchain. And the ledger makes sense specifically when value is exchanged, because you clearly can track any kind of value from production through its life cycle. So outside of that, I don't know what we would use the blockchain for.
Okay. This one I was gonna say, or maybe this one. Person, do you have anything that you want to drop in before I add some as well?
I think it's decentralized in nature.
Okay.
It's decentralized in nature. I mean, there's no like a single authority like controlling the whole aspect of it. Plus also the transparency bit of it, something that for me that uniquely stands out in that anybody can just go and have a look at it and get the whole overview on that. And that it can be applied in many aspects, with government institutions, constitutions, voting systems, and all that. Yeah. So.
Do you want me to add? I'm not sure if you were still going on about what I was adding here, or do you want me to add another one of the big ones?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it, Lucas.
Go ahead.
How would you formalize that in a couple of words?
Which one? Immutable track chain of events, or which one are you talking
No,
about?
the ending part, the last part of what Preston was saying. You were going on about how it's decentralized in nature, both from a technical and governance side. I think that's what I captured. And then he said something more. Okay. If anything else, I just couldn't capture your sentence, right? So if you want to add some more stickies, just jump in. And also, from my side as a product person, what I see is mostly bearer. How do I spell them? Bearer assets. This for me is like the users usually don't care so much about this one. It's actually a problem for some users. This one, it's like it's a given for them, like that things just work. So the users don't really capture what the value is of having decentralized technology. You know, Facebook has always worked. It only goes down like once in 5 years for half a day or something. So I'm not sure the users value this, but I always come back when I talk about this. I always come back to the example of having one of the designers I was showing on our website, and I kept explaining Web3 to her, and she wasn't getting it. And then I said, just install a wallet. Install a wallet, go to like a Vesper, and now you have these seed phrases that are just yours. So this is your recipient, your receptacle, or your box. And I have a book here from book.io. I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to loan you a book. When I send it to her, then she understood, oh, now I'm going to have to return it to you. Otherwise, you can't read it, So it's this notion of having something that's digital, but that's a bearer asset. I think it's really interesting. And you can think of this for not just books, but for tickets to a concert or something like that. So I think eventually we're going to have secondhand markets for when in parallel for maybe Barcelona, who knows, or someone starts having some tickets as NFTs on Cardano. We're going to start having secondary markets for NFTs of everything. And so I'm just, I extrapolating a bit, but yeah. It's these kinds of things that I look for when I start thinking of what can my clients as a Web3 consultant use in their apps. But yeah, we could go on and on.
But
anything else?
Lucas, when
Yes.
you say assets, I mean, it's not technically a real asset. It's a symbolic asset. All we are carrying is tokens, right? By the end of the day, we own tokens, not real assets. The connection with a real asset is symbolic. We are just accepting that there is a connection to a real asset, and so as a human community, we are agreeing on that symbolic connection. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So,
but the relevant part is, sorry, you're getting to your question. I interrupted you.
Yeah,
sorry.
no. Go ahead, Lucas. Yeah.
I think the relevant part is here, for example, if it's just Gimbal Labs 1 hour one-on-one consulting. Yeah, it's important, but it's just a symbolic thing between us and the community. But what if these were tickets to the Barcelona Football Club game, the final or whatever? I don't watch football.
The World Cup and all that.
Yeah, so the bearer assets are still, I sometimes even say it's just like a QR code, but it's a QR code that you can't duplicate. And if you have it in your wallet, the important thing about any of these things is how big is the organization behind them. What does this NFT of a game is going to allow you to do with the big entity that's organizing it? Or we could also have, I think that's something that it's a whole different thing, which is peer-to-peer dynamics, right? But yeah, there you wouldn't have an entity behind it, but you would be able to, find different ways of leveraging not the wisdom of the crowds, but the assets of the crowds and the people validating each other's, like you guys do in Gimbal Labs, right? In Andamio.
Yep.
Yeah. So you guys do skill set validation, right?
Credentials, yeah.
Okay, thanks. By the way, are you involved in Andamio deeply, or are you just like?
No, not deeply. I'm not a part of the team, but I help out here and there.
Okay, so yeah, this was a very small brainstorm, but I think this could be something that we could eventually include even in our knowledge base. So I'm going to stop jumping around on the screen, but as you know, we're creating design.45b.io that's going to have a number of chapters in different content. I'm just going to zoom out to show Preston as well. So we're here in just the section of today, but if we go to the core components, we have the spaces. the portal and the interventions. And for the portal, I'm going to make it a bit bigger. There's this Google Doc that used to be this, this backbone of concepts, articles, etc., etc. So all this is being matured here now. And so if you have any more thoughts, we can actually drop in there and make sure we add what we were discussing, which is the USPs of Web3. Roberto was adding all this in pink here the other day, so I'm going to maybe add an inbox section here to add it later, to sort it into the structure later.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be, how was I phrasing it? But yeah, Preston, if you could come by like every other week or check in, there's our Discord where you are now already. So yeah, it would be good to have your review from time to time and insight. Okay.
Yeah, so, sure, most definitely.
Thanks. So I'm going to copy this into here, and there we go. I'm going to close it for now. Let's just move on with our call. Making your apps multilingual. I'm thinking eventually, I've been exchanging messages with Boaz from Congo, and eventually we're going to start having 45B multilingual calls. It crossed my mind, maybe we don't have much time today to debate it, but it's something that we still need to work on a lot in these calls to try to get resources. There's one standard, I think 18N or something like that, for applications to be multilingual. There's a number of tools that can be used to have these strings be made like organized in different ways. Not sure if you know what I'm talking about. I think I think it's 18N or something. I'm gonna need to look it up later. And there's platforms. This, I think, one of the resources I can share on the next call is like CF is actually doing this now for Cardano.org, I think. My computer is like dragging sometimes. I get to multiply letters. You have no idea what I'm talking about right now. Okay, so let me just try to find this for you. I'm pretty sure it's not that, but it hopefully will correct me. Yeah, there we go. I was missing an I. So you basically externalize everything that's in your app, every string that's rendered to the front end, and then so you organize it a bit better. You get to look into code pages and all that. And dates and times are also tricky. Text directionality, although I personally never contacted with this, but it eventually is something to manage for some languages. So yeah, so now you know a bit what the I18N framework is. I'm gonna try to add some knowledge about this on our list of things. Any thoughts?
Oh, this is actually a good framework. Like this will make our life easier, specifically when we are converting to different languages, if we feel like.
Yeah. I mentioned this from memory because I know that things like Next.js, Nest.js, that Mesh uses a lot, those frameworks are ready to be plugged into this. So it's just a matter of wanting to do it and doing the effort. The advantage is that you do it once to implement the framework into your application, but then you can translate it to 5, 10, 20 languages as long as you have the input, or you use, I think it's DeepL language translation that could be used there. So yeah, I think it's DeepL that's used even for like researchers and academic papers. I think there's even APIs or something like that to translate things. So yeah, this is a bit like just bouncing the problematics and possible solutions off of you.
Yep.
I'm going to move on, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it was a good feedback or ideation stage here. I'm just going to make a copy of this as a reminder that I should do proper capture of context to share with you guys, with everyone, I mean. And let's close it. Then this is more like on the funny note before we go. Agents design is how I titled it. So recently I started exploring OpenClaw and a number of stuff. And after a while, I came up with this. So I'm not sure Gimbal Labs, for example, could have it one day or something like that. I officially don't even have it yet because I'm still ideating it. But so Claude and other things have these memory files where they store their principles, their identity, and everything. So after a bit of exchanging messages with my agent, it's interesting how they have their identity. They have I am his human. Sometimes this is, for example, needs tweaking. And so this is the agent's notes. Here a bit like about 45B, what I'm asking him to help me with. And mostly I think what I'm going to use this for is to be some I was going to say someone, but to be something, some it that's going to be on our chats, interacting with our let's say customers or participants of our Telegram, our Discord, things like those. Even on WhatsApp, for example, where we have the more public-facing side of 45B. So these are the learners of onboarding to Web3. I think it's going to be interesting to have this kind of stuff in there. But yeah, for now, I'm still just trying to teach it about us. And he only knows this about Cardano, which is funny. But Cardano.org, for example, has a number of things. This was actually a side project that I was trying to get him to prepare some videos from a YouTube playlist every day. But yeah, this is not relevant to Cardano, to 45B. Yeah. So also this side of it, to start having not just your site. And so usually we have the people that are helping in your company, you have your website, and this is going to be something in the middle. Okay, so this is what I came up with. It's Jacob, the 45B's go-getter that's going to help on our chats. Any thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like OpenClaw is just like so personal that like people need to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else are you using it for, Lucas? OpenClaw?
Well, for now I've stopped it because on the cloud I spent was using a number of things, but I'll get to your question in a second. Let me just show you here. We have Chloe, I think, which is there's a number of them here. I think I can actually get there here. So I was using these cloud-based things, and they get priced out really quickly. They get not priced out. You get out of quota very quickly. So for the one I was using, this one, I spent my credit like $30 in one day, and then I got with 10% left, and I switched it to the basic open source free model, and that's it. But eventually I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be using this one to have in 45B's chats, but it really needs to be isolated.
Yep.
So it can't have access to anything else. Like you saw there, I did a trial project with it. That's why I burned through all the credits, because I was getting it to go and get some videos from YouTube and prepare a personal page and all that. Don't use it for development. For development, use Claude Code, and that's it. Your Claude.ai, because I'm also using Claude AI on the website, and now Claude Anthropic console account or something, which is really where you pay for the credits. And it's a different, like the consumer product is Claude.ai, and the other one, console.anthropic.com or something, that's the professional one where you just buy credits. There's no monthly fee there. So yeah, the main thing I can share is, like, don't use your OpenClaw, especially if you're hosting it here or on something like that, to do coding. For me, this one's going to be on the chats, and then I'm going to have a hardware one. I'm going to recycle an old laptop to just have my own personal agent. That's going to be a personal assistant type of thing. You know, maybe plan the marketing for 45B, and the simple thing is that you eventually get to have agents teaching each other. So my personal agent's going to know all about 45B's marketing, and he's going to be doing briefs to this guy that's just going to know the high level, you know. So I'm not going to be planning all the marketing posts and things like that with Jacob. I'm just going to be sending him what are we currently doing on, like, links.45b.io, different projects, and that's it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
But yeah, I felt like somehow this comes in the mix of your communication strategy. And as you can see there, I was playing with the design from our logo, and because it is so much client facing, even like the messaging, the tone of it, everything, it sort of, I think, has a design side to it as well. But I'm going to move on. Yeah, last note, which probably is not relevant if you're not around Portugal, but there's this interesting summit that they do, and we went there last year, and we're going to go. I just bought the tickets to go again. So they have the summit, which is composed of a number of parallel events that are somewhat related. And I'm not sure if, I think that's what we can see here, like 1 ticket, 8 events. So there's the non-fungible conference, which is really, really interesting about art. And you get to see a lot of artists there exhibiting what they're doing, a lot of projects. And yeah, for me, this is the very main thing, and almost that's it. But then you also have a number of parallel things going on. So about stable coins, predictive markets, and this is like 40 euros to go to all of this. So if you're around, if you know anyone that's around, come by, or share it with them, I mean. And yeah, if you know of any other events like this, please share on the chat or somewhere else, or I don't know. I think we all could benefit from even just knowing about the concept of this event, to try to motivate us to look for more things like this around where we are. Harsha, like, I keep mixing design and art, so that's why maybe I brought this here. Yeah, I think that's what we have today. It was great meeting you guys, or meeting Preston and discussing a bit. If you have any feedback, drop it on Discord or DM it to me, which, I'm always reachable. Not sure if you guys want to add anything else today.
No, this was pretty good.
It was a nice first session.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be in touch. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for the discussion. That's what we're here for. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys. Bye.
Cheers.